Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca Weber. This is your AMAC podcast, Better for America. And to all of our AMAC members listening, thank you for tuning in. I'm excited for today's show because we have with us our great leader, a patriot of America. His name is Andy Mangione. He is our senior vice president for AMAC's advocacy affiliate, AMAC Action, and he leads outreach and all of our activity across the country. He represents the interests of AMAC membership in Washington, D.C., and in state legislatures. What would you say, Andy, were the biggest policy wins for AMAC Action in 2022?
Without a doubt, Rebecca, it was the call to action campaign that we did with our members leaving comments on the Federal Trade Commission's website, telling them to investigate the anti-competitive business practices of pharmacy benefit managers. AMAC members left over 17,000 comments. And when the website closed and the comments closed at the end of May, about 2 weeks later, in early June, the FTC announced that they would indeed be investigating the business practices of the top 6 pharmacy benefit managers. This is important because these anti-competitive business practices have been proven to increase the cost of prescription drugs, the drugs that people pay at the pharmacy counter. We think, and there's documentation, that we can affect a 20 to 25% decrease across the board in prescription drug prices for every American, including those who use Medicare.
What great news. And I want to really thank every AMAC member who has participated in those calls to action. AMAC Action is certainly making a difference. And just to remind our listeners, it's very easy to get involved with AMAC Action. So AMAC, being the membership organization, offers all kinds of great benefits and discounts, as well as advocacy. But that advocacy is really run and overseen largely by you and your team, doing a tremendous amount of work on Capitol Hill. And we make it so easy for our members to get involved. So I'm going to encourage people who are listening to check out amacaction.org because it's that simple. What issues was AMAC membership especially engaged in over the last year? I know that there were so many issues that you were fighting on. What were some of their top concerns?
Ever since the end of 2020 and with the 2020 election, our members have been extremely concerned about election integrity. We mobilized our members to become poll watchers and poll workers. I always get those two confused. It's poll watching and election working. We mobilized our members throughout January. We started in early January by recognizing National Poll Worker Recruitment Day. We posted a permanent button on the amac.us website that our members were able to click on, find their jurisdiction, and sign up to work the polls. We did this throughout 2022, right up until about a week before the election when people could still get credentialed to work the polls. We drove over 12,000 of our members to work the polls, to poll worker and poll watcher and election worker recruiting websites to work the polls both in the primary and in the midterm election. And let me tell you, in some states, now we did this in states throughout the country, in some states they experienced a 90% capacity, meaning they had 90% of the positions filled in their precincts. During the Georgia recount, some precincts were reporting 100% coverage. Our members stood up and they got involved in the election process to prevent it being co-opted by the left. We had an abundance of conservative scrutiny with the midterm and the primary elections, probably for the first time, or probably in at least 20 to 25 years. That's the head start that the left has had on us, with regard to working elections, not only showing up to work the precincts. And it's a long day, Rebecca. I did it myself. So did our president, Bob Karlstrom, and so did our operations vice president, Jennifer Bankston. We all worked the polls in our respective precincts, and it's a 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. job. And you can't leave the polling place. Okay, so it's any reasonable person would say, my gosh, that's a huge time commitment. But our members made that commitment. They made these, they filled these positions, and as a result, we had excellent coverage in states throughout the country.
What are some of the strategies and technologies that you've implemented this past year that have really paved the way for our issues and the issues of over 2 million members to be heard?
Well, we engaged in this software that allows us to do these wonderful call to actions. And it's kind of a balancing act. We want to engage the membership, but we don't want to over engage them where we see diminished results with participation in these campaigns. And we're very, very fortunate and we're very blessed that that has not occurred. We tried something new this year on a couple of campaigns where we staggered them. There was a steady drip, if you will, of advocacy of AMAC members contacting their federal representative either in the Senate or in the House as a constituent over a 90, 120 day period. We found that to be very effective because every time that representative walked into the office and their staff walked into the office, there were fresh new messages over a 3 to 4 month time frame. We also discovered that when we staggered these campaigns, we picked up more advocates. More advocates were participating in these campaigns and joined the overall AMAC Army. So we're going to continue with that strategy as we roll into 2023.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on the Disney campaign and the great work that our members did to push back against the indoctrination of their clients, I want to call it?
Well, I mean,
that's the right way to put it.
Well, that's a pretty fair way to put it, Rebecca. Disney is a family place, and they decided to pick a fight with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over specific legislation. And it was a parental rights legislation that a lot of people agreed with, particularly people who pay the freight for their families to go to Walt Disney World. And it's not getting any cheaper to go there. It's getting more expensive. So back in April, when this debate was raging, we did our first foray into corporate advocacy. And we asked our members, we gave them the opportunity to contact Disney chief executives, everybody in the C-suites and people on their board, to let them know exactly what they thought of Disney's woke policies. Well, I remember it vividly because it was the week of Easter, and I'm pretty sure there was some divine intervention going on here, Rebecca. Our members sent over 140,000 emails and telephone calls to these executives and board members to tell them what they thought of the woke policies, and they weren't supporting it. Let's put it that way. They were not in support of these woke policies. This was so effective that about 2 weeks after we launched our campaign, one of the Disney communications persons was fired. And then at the end, close to the end of this year, the Disney CEO was fired. Now, I'd like to think that our campaign had a little something to do with that. All the credit goes to AMAC members. They stood up. They made these calls. They sent these emails to the point where we were hearing from a Disney insider that they were overwhelmed and deluged with these calls and with these emails. So the message received.
How much has the AMAC Army grown in 2022? And can you explain the structure around AMAC chapter leaders and delegates for those listening who may want to get involved?
Absolutely. Our biggest source of pride with AMAC is when a citizen becomes a citizen activist or a citizen advocate. AMAC Action gives our members that opportunity. They can become involved. They're all volunteers. Okay, nobody's getting paid here. An AMAC Action delegate will walk into their local congressional district office as a constituent first and an AMAC member second to articulate the same issues that we're articulating in Washington, D.C. So we have that synergy on the local and national level. An AMAC Action chapter is formed for like-minded people, like-minded conservatives to get together, to talk about issues, to learn about new issues. It's like a big kitchen table, and everybody sits together and they talk, and they discuss what concerns them. They discuss the issues that we advocate for. They bring in local candidates, local officials. You have city council members addressing these meetings. You have school board members and candidates. We bring in the AMAC Action chapter leader. We'll work with the AMAC Action delegate to bring in the member of Congress to address our members. These are AMAC exclusive meetings. It's a wonderful atmosphere. It provides a source of fellowship. And one thing that we're doing, and we began at the end of last year, Rebecca, we're expanding our capacity for these chapters by opening up statewide chapters, and these are all going to be held virtually. We've opened 2 so far in Alaska and in Virginia, and we're going to be opening more. And what this does is allow AMAC members, regardless of where they live in a state, to enjoy the fellowship of an AMAC chapter meeting. Again, to to join this learning forum, to learn about issues, to ask questions, to attend meet and greets with local officials. And we do this all virtually. We've had 2 very successful launches in 2022, and we look forward to more launches in 2023. Right now, in 2022, there were 194 AMAC Action chapter meetings that were held in person and attended by over 5,200 AMAC members. We're going to blow these numbers out once we launch more virtual state meetings, because more people can attend. But the state chapter meetings, the virtual state chapter meetings, have been very well received, and we're looking forward to expanding that and just allowing people, giving people the opportunity to become involved, to perhaps do something that they never thought they wanted to do before, and that's walk into a local congressional district office to talk about our Social Security guarantee, to talk about AMAC's Health Act, to talk about the issues that concern them, because they are the same issues that concern us, the same issues we take to Washington, D.C.
Andy, I do want to thank you so much for your time today, but I do have one last question. How hopeful are you for America's future?
You know, Rebecca, AMAC is an organization whose mission statement is premised on faith, family, and freedom. We are a faithful organization. We are a faithful membership, and you can count me among the faithful, because without faith, you don't have hope. I have tremendous hope, and I have tremendous confidence that America's best days lay in front of her. And I look forward to continuing to fight this fight, and hand in glove with the membership, because the membership deserves all the credit for these advocacy successes. They are the ones motivated to carry the water on our campaigns. We direct them, but they make us look really good, and they share the same hope that I do.
Amen. I wish everyone out there just a blessed, very safe and happy New Year. Andy, what a pleasure it is to have you with me today. We're so grateful for your leadership and look forward to seeing what AMAC Action brings throughout the new year, because you do play a very vital role in all of the congressional achievements that we've been fortunate to achieve. Thanks for what you're doing and continue to do for our great AMAC members.
Thank you, Rebecca. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, and I want to thank each and every one of you out there listening. Thank you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode, you can listen to more just like it. Head to our YouTube channel or visit us at bfapodcast.us, and you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, or by downloading our free AMAC News app. And don't forget to follow us wherever you are on social media. Until next time, I'm Rebecca Weber. This is your podcast, Better for America. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening.